The Antigua Freakshow, and a freak show it truly was. I purchased this, well, a portion of this VN from the e-rip-off, and I got ripped off really bad. What transpired was the seller was a low feedback seller. They only had like 4 or 5 sales, but they was all positive sales. And I'm not opposed to buying from no feedback buyers. I've done it a number of times and it turns out just fine, because everybody on there had no feedback at some point. Like, that's how you start. It's not an indicator that you're a scam. So I bought this VN and it was asking a steep price for it, but I was okay with that because it's a nice VN. But the shipping price that they were asking for was outrageous, and it was going to be through USPS, who doesn't fare well with larger items. So I wrote to them and I asked if they would send it via FedEx, because I could get a better rate on a FedEx label, and they agreed, and it was no problem. So they sent me the dimensions so that I could create the label, and they tell me the box is 10 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches. And I'm looking at my computer like, what? No way. Nothing on this VN. Like, even the I think even the Y is longer than 10 inches. Yeah, it's like 12 inches. So I wrote back and I said to them, I says, nope, there's no way that this VN, which is 56 inches wide, fits into a 10 by 10 by 10 box. And they wrote back and they said, oh, that was a typographical error. It was supposed to be 19 by 19 by 19. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I guess I wasn't paying attention, but I said, okay, that's great. So I made the shipping label, I sent it to them, and the 19 by 19 by 19 box arrives, and for some reason, to my surprise, I don't know why I didn't pick up on this, but at the time it was a surprise, there's no blades in the box. And now I'm looking at it like, duh, the blades aren't going to fit in a 19 by 19 by 19 box. The blades are like, well, I don't know, the 56 divided by 2, so they're 25, and then cut off like 8 or 10 inches from the center, so they're probably like 18, there's no point in trying to figure it out when I can just measure it. The blades are approximately 24 inches long. And so there's no way the blades are going to fit in a 19 by 19 by 19 box with the motor and the Y and everything else. So I wrote to the seller and I says, where's the blades at? That's ridiculous. Well, I didn't say that was ridiculous, but I was thinking it. And so they wrote back and they said, geez, well, they didn't say that either, but they said something on the lines of, I'm having a hard time printing out a second shipping label. And I became kind of confused because, like, at that point, they knocked off, they disregarded the shipping charge so that I could send them the label and I'd pay for the shipping myself. So why in the world did they expect to send a second ship? Like, what? It didn't make any sense. So I says, that's fine, whatever. I gave him another couple of days, and then a week goes by and I sent him another message like, where's the blades at? What's going on? And I got nothing back. So then I opened the case on the e-rip-off, and they closed the case within 24 hours and said, here's your money back. That's it. So I got refunded the price I paid for the VN, and I'm kind of irritated because I ended up with a motor, a jacked up light shade, and no screws, no blades. Completely unusable item. And I was still out the cost of shipping that I paid for the FedEx label. So, you know, whatever. If I hadn't done that and I just paid a fortune for the USPS shipping, I would have gotten everything back, but I didn't know at the time that they were going to do that. So then I looked at their feedback after I left the negative commentary, which I very seldom do. I think I've done it twice in my entire lifetime on eBay, and I have over 300 transactions. So I left the feedback, and I looked at their feedback, and they had another one at or around the time that I purchased this van, and the feedback said the same thing. They never shipped the item. So, what? Why? Why would you sell something and then send half of the... what is she doing with the blades? Or he? What is he or she doing with the blades? They're going to hang them on a wall and use them as a decoration? Or what are they doing with the blades? Why couldn't they just send the stinking blades? I'm tired of this trash. I don't do this funny man business. If I'm going to sell something, you're going to receive it as it's represented. That's how I function. And if I buy something, I expect it to be exactly as it's represented. Tired of this nonsense. People are playing games and being stupid. Well, I'm tired of stupid, but I already did a video on that. So, I bought another set of blades. The blades for like $70. And another $25 for shipping, which I don't understand, because the blades, they're very, very light. They're even lighter than a regular fan blade, which is surprising because they're much bigger, but very, very lightweight. So why it costs $25 stinking dollars to ship these blades that I don't even think weigh a pound in total is beyond me. I think if it wasn't for the length, they probably could have gone through. What was that thing? First class package service. It was so light. So now I have mostly a complete van, except in addition to the blades, they didn't send the screws. So I put some screws in there, but like it's not going to come off, but it's not what it should be either. And that's a result of lacking a washer. I believe it's like those fiber washers that should be on the top, and those I don't have. I took these screws off of some other fan. I got to put it back on the other fan because the other fan is in better condition, but I'll get some screws for this, and I'll get the washers. I spent another, I think it was $15 on a down rod because they didn't include the down rod, and I don't do flush mount. Like, it's flush mounted now just so that I can hang it and test it, but I don't like it flush mounted because it doesn't move any air and it's noisy. And maybe I don't understand this, but it seems to me like there's no way to wire it. Because what I did was I screwed it onto the bracket, because when it's flush mounted, well, there's a thing on there now, there's that ring up at the top, but when it's flush mounted, there's 4 screws that ring is covering that screw directly into the mounting bracket. And then that's it. Like, you can't suspend the fan for the wiring before you put the canopy up. So I just reached in the top and connected the wires, after it was hung. And I can only do that because the box isn't flush with the ceiling. In a normal use case, it'll be flush with the ceiling. So I don't understand this flush mount nonsense anyways. And on top of that, the whole thing is like crooked. See, it's not straight. It's totally crooked. It's tilted towards the studio. So I don't know what that's about. The Hampton Bay fobs is missing. I don't know where those are at. The shade is all sorts of jacked up, but oddly enough, it looks okay when it's, well, it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look anywhere near as bad as I thought it would when it's on. The light bulb here is burnt out. They shipped it with 3 light bulbs and one of them doesn't even work. So otherwise, where it is illuminated correctly, it looks fine. So that's not a problem. I think there's something missing here, because this is just, like, that can't be right. There's got to be like another one of those or something that goes there. I don't know. Really nice looking fan. Really like it. But what a freak show.